The following program does not have a normal intro because I was really too busy smoothing other things over to get it done. So, Ori? Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the following program. I am your host, Joe Neerman, a.k.a. Good Lawgic, coming to you live from sunny Florida, which is the nickname that I've given to my studio bedroom that is situated here in New Jersey. Tonight's top story that I'd like to begin with here for you is an incident that happened last night on MSNBC. An incident. It's a mild incident on MSNBC, which apparently has drawn the ire of a lot of people from the state that they're hoping to bank in 2024. Hopefully this starts waking them up as to the stupidity of following the bluish parts of this purple state, specifically referring to, in case you're wondering, the state of Virginia. Specifically, there was this incident. This incident right here. Fallout over MSNBC's Laugh Fest is getting worse. Oh no! Oh no! Mr. Bill! As Matt covered last night, the host handling MSNBC's Super Tuesday coverage broke out in laughter while discussing the issue of illegal immigration as a top concern for Virginia voters. Ha ha ha! Why would people in Virginia worry about illegal immigration? Ha ha ha! MSDNC panel mocking the fact immigration is a top issue for voters across the country. Check this out.
I mean, if you look at some of these exit polls,
Whoops. Let's do it like this.
Virginia, immigration. I mean, if you look at some of these exit polls, I mean, I live in Virginia. Immigration was the number one issue.
Yes.
I mean, again, these could change in Virginia.
Well, Virginia does have a border with West Virginia. Very contested area.
Build the wall. Like, what? I mean, if you look at some of these exit polls, I mean,
So they're just having a laugh riot there. These basically like repurposed The View. This is basically The View wearing different wigs. That's what I'm convinced. You got they moved over Bette Midler or whoever that Joy Behar from being in the center to being all the way over here on the left. They got Whoopi sitting here on the left-hand side. They've got their, the one who's supposedly Republican over here. We got that Hispanic crazy person. I mean, it's you can see it, right? I mean, this basically looks like this is basically the repurposed View over here, MSNBC covering this thing here. So there you go. They're just shocked. Why would Virginians care about this? Why would Virginians have the slightest concern about illegal immigration, as if they're not being airlifted across the country? 324,000 of them across the country that we heard about last night, as if they just stay there, And Rachel Maddow chiming in with, probably trying to keep out the West Virginians. With a throaty laugh there. God, she's gross, disgusting. Fallout was swift and continues as viewers of the spectacle point out a number of crimes committed by illegal immigrants in non-border states. No, it's not just Texas and Arizona and California that are feeling the burn of Biden immigration policies. Completely out of touch with real Americans, laughing and stating that since Virginia doesn't share a border with Mexico, Virginia residents shouldn't care. Virginia residents just saw an illegal alien from Venezuela arrested last week on felony charges for sexually. God, this keeps happening to me. For sexually assaulting a minor. Every state is a border state today. Well said there. Every state is a border state. We are all living in border states. There you go. West Virginia Governor Jim Justice took particular issue with Rachel Maddow's quip about his state. What an incredibly insulting statement about the hardworking good people of West Virginia by liberal elites J.R. Psaki and Maddow. Biden's open border policies create a real crisis in America, making every state a border state, and they think it's a joke. Yeah. They think that it's like, people are more bothered by West Virginia. By the way, to them, it's not a joke. Rachel Maddow is much more bothered by West Virginians than she is by illegal immigrants. Like, it's not even close. Not even close. If you could take every West Virginian and remove them from the country and replace those people with illegal immigrants, she would be thrilled. So, yeah, don't tell me. That's the sick reality as to where these liberal elites come from. It's certainly the case. Texas Governor Abbott is also weighing in, as is the Border Patrol Union. This captures why Democrats will be destroyed this November. Without a touch, arrogant, and indifferent to the emotions of average Americans, they simply cannot grasp the reality that Biden's border policies are destroying America. Yup. That's correct, Gregory. And the Border Patrol, Americans dying by the thousands of fentanyl overdoses, women raped and murdered, kids sex trafficked, cops assaulted, all due to leftists' open border. Jem Psaki and Rachel Maddow, OMG, it's hilarious. Ha 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 ha. People in Virginia are so stupid. They're so stupid. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, anyhow, so that's our top story tonight. But I haven't had a chance really yet to watch Miss Nikki Haley and her exit speech, because last night's poll led to a change. But before I get to that, there's another change out there. There's another change I need to call to y'all's attention. Another change, and that change comes courtesy, none other than Wims. Way to go, Wims. Did this twice. I'm going to give you for that. Please. Awesome work, Wims. Following people are now members courtesy of Wims. Includes, I can't get the first 5. Dang. I'm not sure who the first 5 were. I apologize for that. But you get the second 5. Second 5 were Proxy Loxy, Petty T, Third Party Intervener, Penny, and Will Call Magic. God bless you. I missed the first 5. Y'all who just became members of the following, welcome aboard, new followers. Welcome aboard. The following is not at all a cult type of cult. Not at all. We don't, and one sign of that is we don't eat the bugs. We don't eat the bugs. No eating of the bugs. But we'll get to that. That's coming up later. First, we have to cover Nikki Haley. We have to talk about Nikki. We have to discuss Nikki. Nikki Haley. Goodbye, Nikki. Goodbye, Nikki. All right, let's hear her little speech. I haven't heard her speech yet. Apparently, it was short, sweet, and stupid. Well, they say that she was kind of gracious in defeat. I haven't heard it yet. Let's see.
Campaign for president. When I began, I said the campaign was grounded in my love for our country.
Because it wasn't grounded in reality. So it was grounded in blind love. Blind love. Oh my God. Why are you having trouble streaming to Rumble? That's not cool. That's not good. That's not good. What the heck happened there? YouTube is still live. I don't know why it is that happened. That should not be happening. Good golly. I didn't even touch Rumble. I didn't do nothing. I didn't do nothing here. Dang it. I don't know what the heck is going on with Rumble. I just got a notification saying we're having trouble streaming to your destination. We'll try to keep you and let you. We'll keep trying and let you know if it's resolved. This continues for a few minutes. Try creating a new stream. Wow. Yeah, Jacob, I'm just calling that out here now. I'll show you all what it looks like on my end, in case you're wondering. You gotta do it this way, because otherwise you can go nuts. Let me do it this way. I think if I do it just with the screen, I do it like this, and now I come over here. I think this will work. That's not working well. Oh well, never mind that. That was craziness. I think has been fixed. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's been fixed. The notification went away. The Kool-Aid is great, but I'm skipping the track soon. Y'all better not hurt any squirrels. Hail, great leader. Thank you so much. Bears and BS says, I joined for the Boomer stream. I stick around for the Boomer stream. Keep up the good work, Joe. Oh, thank you so much, B&B. There you go. There you go. Nothing but net with B&B, which makes him an Airbnb. God, dad joke. All right. Let's get back to Nikki.
Just last week, my mother, a first-generation immigrant, got to vote for her daughter.
I thought she was Native American, Nimrata or something like that. What the hell are we talking about here? How can you be a first-generation American if you're a Native American? How does that even happen? What happens here? What is going on?
For president, only in America. I am filled with the gratitude for the outpouring of support we've received from all across our great country. But the time has now come to suspend.
It looks like Rumble is fixed. I'm getting a check mark now by Rumble. So it does look like those of you who are interested in following on Rumble that it is fixed. Let me refresh and see if it's running there. Yeah, it is back now. All right, good. So, yeah, I think maybe Nimrata was like basically female for Nimrod. I don't know, but we'll see.
My campaign. I said I wanted Americans to have their voices heard. I have done that. I have no regrets. And although I will no longer be a candidate, I will not stop using my voice for the things I believe in. Our national debt will eventually crush our economy.
Yep.
A smaller federal government.
Yep. And you wanted to keep increasing our debt by investing in overseas relationships, which basically means investing in killing people.
Government is not only necessary for our freedom, it is necessary for our survival. The road to socialism is the road to ruin for America. Our Congress is dysfunctional and only getting worse.
Yeah, you would have just made it worse. You would have made it much, much worse. You would have been like acid on top of AIDS, on top of like blistering boils of skin that's covered in leprosy. That's what you would have been.
It is filled with followers, not leaders.
Followers. Wait, she's saying that in a bad way. Oh, never mind. This is why we don't like Nikki Haley. Nikki.
Term limits for Washington politicians are needed now more than ever. Our world is on fire because of America's retreat.
You see, peace. It's like strength through strength. That's our world is on fire. It's our world. It's our job to be world police for basically the rest of humanity's existence on this globe.
Standing by our allies in Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan is a moral imperative.
Nope. Not send them money. Send them warm wishes. Say, go get them. That's what you can do. You can do that. Not with our money. Nope.
But it's also more than that. If we retreat further, there will be more war, not less.
Nope. When you're sitting here saying you have to fight Ukraine and poke Russia in the eye as much as possible, let's poke you in the eye, that's more war. That's more war. When you sit here with like trying to shill for Ukraine by saying if we don't stop from Ukraine, next comes Poland or some other stupid NATO country, which certainly would never, ever happen. Never happen, short of us antagonizing Stalin, Putin, short of us antagonizing. I've been rereading 1941. I'm sorry. Short of us antagonizing Putin. Yeah. You would be leading to more war.
As important, while we stand strong for the cause of freedom, we must bind together as Americans. We must turn away from the darkness of hatred and division. I will continue to promote all those values, as is the right of every American. I sought the honor of being your president.
And we flatly rejected you and said, go away. Never come back. Please, never come back.
In our great country, being a private citizen is privilege enough in itself. And that's a privilege I very much look forward to enjoying.
Yeah, please do for the rest of your life.
In all likelihood, Donald Trump will be the Republican nominee when our party convention meets in July. I congratulate him and wish him well.
Okay, that's nice. That's nice.
I wish anyone well who would be America's president. Our country is too precious to let our differences divide us. I have always been a conservative Republican.
By 1980s definition of conservative, not by the 21st century definition.
And always supported the Republican nominee. But on this question, as she did on so many others, Margaret Thatcher provided some good advice when she said, quote, "Never just follow the crowd. Always make up your own mind."
Okay.
It is now up to Donald Trump to earn the votes of those in our party and beyond it who did not support him. And I hope he does that. At its best, politics is about bringing people into your cause.
That's her way of saying, if you promise me a nice, cozy position, I will support you. And then tell people that he's changed and he's the right man for us. That's what she just said. It's reading between the lines. I think a lot of people probably don't notice that that's what she was doing. Let's hear that again. You'll see where she's basically saying, don't follow blindly. So don't just give Trump your allegiance. He has to earn it. You know, just like anyone else. I've always supported the Republican, but I wish him well, but that's not support. That's not support. And what she's essentially saying is, I'll let you know when it's time to support him, which basically means when she gets private assurances of a position that she's happy with. That's whether that's vice president, whatever the hell, which, God, if she's named as the vice president, I will dial back my support of Donald Trump dramatically. Yeah, but that let's rehear it. Notice where she's basically saying, I need to be promised a cozy position. But she basically says, don't blindly. I've always supported conservatives, but
Republican nominee. But on this question, as she did on so many others, Margaret Thatcher provided some good advice when she said, quote, "Never just follow the crowd. Always make up your own mind." It is now up to Donald Trump to earn the votes of those in our party and beyond it.
Why would you say that? Why don't you just give him your support? You have to earn the trust of the people who are voting for me. That's essentially what she's saying. She's also assuming that she still maintains sway over them, rather than the fact that people just supported her out of, let's say, I don't know, animus towards Donald Trump. I'm sure there's some neocons who like her. Some people who are not really following the news or really understanding the dramatic terribleness of her policy positions. But that's what she's basically saying, is he has to earn our support. Well, at what point will she fully endorse him? At what point? Why is she holding it back now? I mean, she doesn't have the promises that she wants yet. I'm glad he held back from that.
Who did not support him. And I hope he does that. At its best, politics is about bringing people into your cause, not turning them away. And our conservative cause badly needs more people. This is now his time for choosing.
See, even his time for choosing. I told you, I didn't even hear that part yet. It's his time for choosing. He better be choosing the right people. He has to be choosing the right people to show that he's going down the right road before I actually endorse him. Till then, he has to earn that by choosing the right people. What a self-involved biatch.
I end my campaign with the same words I began it, from the book of Joshua. I direct them to all Americans, but especially to so many of the women and girls out there who put their faith in our campaign. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid.
I said that if he tabs this woman here as his VP, I would strongly reconsider, I would strongly reconsider everything. That's how much I despise this woman. She's made me despise her over the last 6 months. So if he tabs her as vice president, I would strongly reconsider. That's how bad she is.
Do not be discouraged, for God will be with you wherever you go. In this campaign, I have seen our country's greatness. From the bottom of my heart, thank you, America. God bless you.
Adios.
Nikki
People say that she was gracious. I don't look at that as gracious. I looked at that as a not so veiled speech directing Donald that he wants her support. He has to give her. He has to promise her a cushy job. Oh, is she indeed Indian? To dot, not feather? Really? Oh, she's a dot. Oh, I lost my dot. Yeah, sorry. That was actually my French accent. Cult followers assembled. 8 months, Jenny. 8 months. 8 months you've been here with me. My God, Jenny. I think it's been actually a lot longer than 8 months. I think you've been following me for a while. God bless you. As has Purple AJ. Nikki voters are Democrats trying to save Biden. I think that's probably true. Not all of them. I mean, some of them are your stupid neocon Republicans. You know. So, as always, when the someone drops out, we get to hear the crying from their biggest supporters. So with that, let's hear the crying from biggest supporters of Nikki Haley. And who would that be? Who would that be? Who's the biggest criers? Who are the biggest criers? Who are going to be missing Nikki Haley the most? Obviously, it's the one and only Fox News.
So here's the latest email. Nikki Haley drops out. This is from Donald Trump's team. It was a hard-fought race, but now it's time for us to unite as a party and defeat Joe Biden.
That sounds a little more correct.
I think that's the one.
I think that's a little more correct. I just want to bring in Matt and Philippe on something that we asked Jason Miller about earlier. And this was about the fact that immigration is now the #1 issue in the country, and then followed closely by the economy. And that's for a lot of reasons, right? Because people are seeing things with their eyes and ears and experiencing things in their communities. We talked a lot about deplorables back in 2016. Philippe, listen to MSNBC last night on immigration. Get your reaction on the other side.
Are they going to share that story that we watched?
If you look at some of these exit polls, I mean, I live in Virginia. Immigration was the #1 issue. I mean, again,
I agree with you.
It
was not an endorsement.
in Virginia.
Not at all.
Virginia does have a border with West Virginia.
Oh my God, Rumble is crapping out again. I'm sorry, you Rumble folk. I'm sorry. Apparently, it's not just my stream, but all of Rumble is freezing. So I'm sorry that Rumble is being wonky tonight. But yeah.
Build the wall. What?
And, you know, I'm sure, Philippe, you know, I don't know if you live in Virginia or if you're still in the district, but I mean, that kind of reaction is something that you think something like Donald Trump wouldn't be able to exploit?
Well, look, I'm not going to be the token Dem who defends the immigration system. It's a mess. I've said that on this network a couple of times, and it's got to be fixed. What I would say, though, is that it's been a mess for the last 4 presidents, half Republican, half Democrats.
Seriously, you're pretending it's in the same stratosphere as what it was 4 years ago. Was that what you're pretending? Really? Like that's your argument? You know, we've had, I don't know, somewhere between 10 and 15 million illegal aliens come across the border over the last 3 years, and you're pretending that that's remotely like what was like under Trump. What the hell's wrong with you?
Including the last president, Donald Trump. So there's a lot of blame and pain to go around. But to answer your question about when is the next gathering part, I mean, think about last week. You had both Biden and Trump at the border. And, you know, that's going to be an example of those kind of events, those kind of stunts where, you know, the networks are going to have plenty to cover. This is going to be unpopular, but there are going to be some trials that are probably going to bring some people together to comment on.
Yeah. The trials will only help Trump. I really hope the New York trial is live streamed. The reason I think it may not be live streamed, is because we've seen that New York judges like Engoron are like, no cameras. I will tell you that if it's not live streamed, which would bother me a lot, because if it is live streamed, I know that I'd surge over 100,000 during the course of that trial. So personally, it'll harm me if it's not live streamed. But at the same time, I still will be using this pass right there, as well as my attorney pass, to march on in and out of that courtroom and cover that trial. So we'll see what's going to happen with whether or not it's going to be streamed, and I will be giving you coverage of it. And this is a perfect screen freeze for this dude. So here we go.
And I would say lastly, you know, on the bringing the party together, I understand the focus on the various people, particularly, you know, what Kayleigh said about the interesting part about Mitch McConnell. But there's something to note here, which is that this is arguably the most set of nominees going back to maybe 1972.
Okay.
And if you think about 2020, Biden had a fight. If you go back to 2016, Hillary had to fight, as did whoever she faced, Donald Trump. And,
whoever she faced, this is the political commentator, whoever she faced. Who did she face in 2016? I don't remember. Donald Trump.
All the way back here, it has been a fait accompli from the first minute. And the point is that there.
It's DVR. What does DVR mean? How am I supposed to relaunch it? For the love of God. Is that really true? I have to relaunch it? Let me see what they're telling me. They said they're going to keep trying and let me know if it's resolved. So let me give it another few minutes. Last time it fixed itself.
There's a whole lot less of consolidating that either has to do in terms of policy or bringing people together. Obviously, it is going to be tied as a tick. You have to fight for every vote, but it's a very different dynamic.
Let me get Katie's take on the immigration point.
Yeah, first I would just respond and say that Donald Trump has said he's going to unify the country and the party by his success, and that will be his revenge. So just to put that out there, he said that multiple times. In terms of the immigration issue, I am also a resident of Virginia. I'm also from Arizona. Know this issue pretty well. In Virginia, MS-13, which is an El Salvadorian gang, runs roughshod in parks. In 2022, 5 members of this
MS-13, but that's not a border state. How can that possibly be? Who told them they're allowed to go all the way to Virginia? How could that possibly be?
Gang were convicted of murdering a young man and torturing him in a public place. This is a serious issue when it comes to the local budgets that are being blown out after a number of these counties in Northern Virginia in particular have become sanctuary counties. They're now trying to raise taxes on residents to make up the gap. This is a public safety issue, and this is something that Democrats have downplayed for years. It's the reason President Trump won in 2016. And for the media and the people inside the Washington, D.C. bubble to continue laughing this off as if it's just a West Virginia border state issue. It's a fentanyl issue. The list goes on.
I hope they keep doing it. I hope they keep doing it. Just keep chasing people away. Keep chasing people away from mainstream media by showing how you have absolutely no clue how actual normal Americans think.
On and on. It's affecting every place in the country, not just.
That gang, by the way, was highly effective on Long Island, New York.
Correct.
Now, we live in Manhattan, okay? Many of us were not even aware of MS-13 in these communities on Long Island. And when Donald Trump went in the White House during his first term, he went out there and made a point of going to these towns to root out MS-13. And I would argue he was largely successful.
Well, they're coming back, so that's something that shouldn't be ignored.
Bill, if I could jump in,
Please.
You know, I would say the one thing that people outside the bubble have to remember is that it was only weeks ago that the Republican majority in the House refused to pass the most comprehensive immigration law of decades.
Idiots. Comprehensive in that it would force us during times of emergency crisis to allow in 42,000 when we're shutting down, that we're forced to allow in 500,000 illegal aliens every year with a minimum of 42,000 per month. So no. I say no. No. I still say no.
You know, the Republicans want to keep this issue, so you can't say this is.
It's not keeping the issue. It's that you literally wanted to force Trump's hand that when he wins and is inaugurated next year, that he would not be allowed to shut down the border because it would literally be illegal to shut down the border. That's what the goal was. So no, it was terrible, 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 and happened to be tied into another $60 billion in aid to Ukraine, which just was like the icing on the cake for terribleness. So shut the hell up, you jackass. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. The most comprehensive border plan in decades. Yeah, comprehensive for completely promising, committing to effing up America.
All about Democrats.
And
I mean,
Philippe, you know,
100% about Democrats. And too many Republicans dressed, too many Democrats dressed as Republicans. I apologize. I'm still under the weather. I'm plowing through here, but I'm going to have coughing bits here and there.
How did they get over the wall that Donald Trump built?
To be fair, 9 months prior, House Republicans passed their own bill, and it sat on the floor of the U.S. Senate. It went nowhere.
Oh,
So what does that excuse last month? I mean,
it's because last month's bill was asinine. That's why. Okay. But these idiots here sitting here, how many idiots you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6 idiots can't respond to him and basically point out to him how stupid that plan was. How ridiculous that plan was. How it was basically designed not to stop anything this year, which all the stuff that was in there, Biden has the power to do right now. Right now. He's choosing not to. He needs legislation to tell him to run the freaking border? What the hell's wrong? I mean, seriously? He needs to have a new bill? Why can't he enact everything that's there on his own today? Why? Why would you need he has complete carte blanche on how we run the border. Why? Why wouldn't you do it? It's his own stupid policies, and you want to try and dress this up as if it's the Republicans who are trying to keep this an issue for the 2024 election. You go with that. You go with that. That should be your plan going into November. That's a good plan. Good plan. I think it'll work for you. Try it out. You just run with it. Run with it. Please do. Please do. Please do. I'll be sitting here screaming about what an utter gaslighting that is, and how it was amazing of Mike Johnson to basically say, "Go after yourselves."
last month's bill was really giving everyone everything.
Americans didn't want a bill that pays for lawyers for illegal immigrants or allows 5,000 people per day or per week into the country.
Come on.
But Felipe,
oh, there you go. Someone's speaking out against him.
You're going to hear a lot about
creative
tomorrow
talking
night.
point.
You're going to hear a lot about it tomorrow
It's not
night.
creative. It's not creative. It's actually just reading the text of the bill. It's reading the text of it.
The State of the Union, and we will have coverage for that.
The bill literally made it illegal to shut down the border during a time of emergency, and that it would be triggered if there's too many border crossings. So as soon as there's too many border crossings, it's triggered, and you're not allowed to shut down the border. It's insanity.
That too.
Philippe, thank you for the commentary on that. But
Idiocy.
regardless,
Stupidity.
the president
basically made whatever handful of people are still watching Fox News a little bit dumber.
on this issue.
It's a horrible issue.
Let me
It's
just
going
make the
horribly.
point. The president sat on.
Oh no, it's a great issue. It's a great issue. It's a great issue. Frankly, I wish you'd solve it beforehand, but I know that you have no desire. Yeah, the left has neither the competence nor the motivation to remedy this issue.
this issue for 3 years, and now it's in just about every large city across America, and it's going to be on the ballot, like it or not, come November. Last comment.
Why do they have these other people sitting here? It's basically been 3 people talking out of 7. I don't understand why they bring these folks in. What's blonde woman lower left doing? What's the bald dude doing? I mean, they literally haven't said. They're just sitting there nodding. I don't understand what's happening here. What's happening?
Well, you can imagine I disagree about him sitting on it for 3 years. I would just reiterate that there's a lot of pain and a lot of blame to go back over it's just a wicked problem. That doesn't mean we don't all fight
5,000
to
a
fix
day?
it.
No,
but
actually,
we
I'm going to
don't
agree with
blame-
you that he didn't
It's
just sit on
horrible.
it. He actively destroyed
Exacerbated
the
it.
immigration policies that were there in 93 executive orders. But I also believe that the Republicans are going to have a challenge to deal with the messaging that you are articulating.
Why would they? Why would they? Is it that you're going to fail to enlighten them as to what a complete sham it was, and how that might be because you probably hate Trump more than you hate Biden. I mean, look, there's only 2 possibilities here as to why it is that they haven't set him straight. There's 2 possibilities. They either don't have the knowledge or the inclination. Right? I mean, that's it. That's it. Fox News coming to utter fail.
There, Philippe, that is true indeed. Panel, stick around. We are going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Oh, you stick around and you can sit there looking all official and important, saying nothing other than gaslighting. So there you go. There you go. There are the people there talking about how excited they are about how Trump is going to be marching to the White House, because, in large part because of the border issue. It's certainly going to help a lot. Certainly going to help a lot. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Nikki's suspending her campaign. Do you think I was being too harsh? Do you think I was right? Let me know. Comments down below. And I always try to check the comments, so please make sure you do that. And that covers that. Put it in can it. All right. Next topic. I know you think I'm going to jump right into eating the bugs, and I'm working there. This is related to that. This is something that a lot of people are not really talking about. But Letitia James was back in the news a couple days ago because of more woke policies that she's trying to enact, and this one is designed to lead us toward eating the bugs. And here we go. Letitia James turned New York into a banana republic with yet another lefty lawsuit. This time it doesn't involve Trump. It's another bizarre lefty lawsuit. What do you got going for? What do you have for us now, Tishy? New York State Attorney General Letitia James has a beef with beef. Oh. James last week sued JBS USA Food Company, the U.S. subsidiary of the world's largest beef producer, accusing it of, quote, fraudulent and illegal business activities and demanding disgorgement of all profits and ill-gotten gains. So they're looking to basically strip away all of their money. We want to make them go bankrupt. That's what Letitia James wants. Disregard the inflammatory language. James' lawsuit is frivolous, a mere publicity stunt. She's using the state's legal apparatus to punish individuals and in industries unpopular with the left, sacrificing the rule of law in the process. If she can make the Empire State into a living hell for beef producers, she can do it to any other industry. Her politically motivated legal attacks will scare companies out of New York, and that's really what's going to end up happening here. I mean, she's already scaring real estate developers, already scaring them. Because you have to realize what they did to Donald Trump, they technically can do to anyone who mortgaged property. So normally when you're developing property, you put a mortgage on it and then start developing it. So how stupid would you have to be to say, I'm going to keep reinvesting in real estate in Manhattan when I might have this crazy person who clearly has more in her mind than just going after Donald Trump. A lot of people, and here's the reason this is highly significant, because what this does is it shows that she just is an agenda-driven lunatic. That's essentially it, which tells you this is not purely about Donald Trump, but she's just an agenda-driven lunatic, which means that any other real estate person, she can go after them the way that went after Donald Trump. I think a lot of people try taking comfort in assuming, well, it's just Donald Trump, it's not going to happen to me. But now she's going after beef. What makes you think that she's not going to go after other real estate moguls who try and correct the ridiculous ridiculous policies that have helped make New York go broke by seizing assets from them for New York? She's a lunatic, seriously a lunatic. Your business or job can be next, as according to New York Post. Already, James has used the powers of her office to go after President Donald Trump and the National Rifle Association. Now she's targeting a beef producer. What's next? Furriers, car dealerships, big pharma, pro-life groups, Friends of Israel, companies that donate to Republicans. Most of James' 38-page legal complaint is a rant against beef, not JBS specifically. Quote, beef has the highest total greenhouse gas emissions of any major food commodity, and beef production is linked to large-scale deforestation, especially in the Amazon rainforest. What the F does this have to do with New York? Seriously, what the hell does this have to do with New York? New York is a long way from the Brazilian rainforest or even JBS's U.S. operations in Colorado. So how does she justify the New York lawsuit? Oh, you see, I had this question also. I only read the first couple of paragraphs. I didn't get this far in before. She accuses JBS of fraud for telling New York consumers the company aspires to achieve net zero by 2040. Wow. I accuse Letitia James of fraud and claiming that she actually cares about justice. So there you go. The fraud charge is ridiculous. Labeling chuck steak filet mignon would be fraud because it would misrepresent the product being sold. But saying you aspire to net zero carbon emissions 20 years from now is not fraud. Half of the world's 2,000 largest public listed companies state they aspire to net zero by 2040, but very few have concrete plans on how to get there, according to Net Zero Tracker. The technology has been developed. Do it affordably. Aspiring is not a legal commitment. The complaint makes clear James' goal isn't to get JBS to refine its advertising. She wants to put beef producers out of business. That's what she wants. Eat the bugs. You don't need. Why would you need beef? Eat the bugs. Eat the bugs. She wants to eat the bugs, Teresa. I don't understand your question. Eat the bugs. Eat the bugs. Stay happy. Eat the bugs. Perhaps. Yeah. You know what? That's fair. That's a fair point. In order to ESG requirements, basically made you sort of try to do whatever you can to look like you care about environment, social, and governance. So that's why people started putting advertising of like, oh, we hope to be net zero by 2040. So they make that commitment in order to, better to do better on their ESG score. And now Letitia James basically wants to remind you to never do business in New York. Citing a United Nations report, James argues that emissions, quote, cannot be eliminated through existing or anticipated technologies. Instead, scientists point to the need to reduce production of and demand for ruminant meat, including beef. Oh, that's nice. JBS Group plans to do the opposite, the AG complains. JBS Group forecasts increased demand for its products over the coming decades and intends to meet that demand. How dare they produce more beef? How dare they actually make meat like affordable, despite a Biden economy? Crazy lunatic. What was I? Sorry. So what is JBS crime? Growing instead of catering to the left and closing down. Yep, that is their crime. They're growing. You're supposed to get to net zero. The only time you get to net zero is if you kill all your cows off once and for all. James' lawsuit is a red flag warning to business not to expect impartial justice. She's targeting the politically disfavored for extinction. It will mean publicity for her, millions of dollars in defense costs for her victims, and billions of dollars for the city of New York. Because why the hell would anyone want to do business anywhere that she has any sort of ring? It's a crazy person. It's a crazy person. You could be next. You don't know. She fires off lawsuits like it's a machine gun. She's just got a machine gun of like, oh, she's like a lunatic loose with a machine gun in downtown Manhattan, firing off lawsuits. Who the hell can deal with her? Terrible human being. Where's the New York State Bar Association, which has pledged to uphold the integrity of our legal system and discipline lawyers who bring frivolous lawsuits? Rule 3.1 of the Rules of Professional Conduct defines a frivolous lawsuit as one having no reasonable purpose other than to harass or maliciously injure. Good question. That's the JBS lawsuit to a T. Shame on the New York State Bar Association for lacking the spine to denounce it. Since 2019, hundreds of businesses, including major financial institutions, have fled New York because of high taxes, regulations, and crime. James' legal vendettas will turn the business exodus into a stampede. Yep. Meanwhile, the city is suffering a surge in pedestrian assaults, subway attacks, and retail theft because they've been importing illegal aliens. That's essentially what they've been doing. So instead of suing JBS, James will be calling for the repeal of the state's insane bail reform and the removal of pro-criminal district attorneys like Alan Bragg. Can James be removed from office? Technically, yes, by a 2/3 vote of the state Senate on the governor's recommendation. But with the New York's one-party rule, that definitely will not happen. It's up to the legal. She's a hero to the left. She's a hero. She got a $450 million judgment against Trump. She's their hero right now. It's up to the legal community to stand up to James and demand the impartial, apolitical administration of justice. Without New York's economy cannot survive. New York has produced legal greats like Benjamin Cardozo and Thurgood Marshall. Don't let James trash the rule of law here and turn the Empire State into a banana republic. So there you go. There you go. Letitia James will not be satisfied until she chases every business out of New York with her lunacy and her desire for greater and greater acclaim amongst the crazies on the left. That's what she basically wants. That's what she wants. That's what New York's signing up for. I'll never live there again. I'll tell you that. Never live in that place. Has this thing resolved itself, Rumble? is. Look at that. Oh, thank God. All right. All right. Hi, Rumble people. Sorry about the hassle you all have. Now there's only 198 of you in there. I get that. I feel you. 2 years from now, white supremacy is keeping our grocery shelves empty. That's definitely going to be the headline, right? That's totally going to be the headline. Her name should be Litigious James. Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. Litigious James. Crazy woman. All right. So that was the first breaking in on that. I meant to share something else with you, but I'm going to have to put that for later. We'll leave it later. So now that we're starting to dig into the whole topic of people trying to get rid of meat and forcing you to eat bugs, I want to call to your attention this article from a year ago. And you'll see it's timely. This is how the left is presenting the news. This is how the left is presenting it. And I know that I'll come to that later. This is how the left is presenting the news. This is just a year ago. From 4chan to international politics, a bug-eating conspiracy theory goes mainstream. What does that mean? In mid-March, a far-right Dutch member of parliament named Thierry Baudet. How do I get rid of this stupid W? I don't need you. Who's this from? I can't tell. Maybe that's... In mid-March, a far-right Dutch member of the parliament named Thierry Baudet tweeted, quote, "We will not eat the bugs," accompanied by a photo of himself holding a microphone in one hand and pouring golden mealworms out of a bag in the other. Earlier in the month, Poland's ruling Nationalist Party, Law and Justice, falsely alleged that the opposition's civic platform was trying to push citizens into eating worms, prompting the opposition to hit back with a similar accusation. Those are just some of several instances of European right-wing politicians lobbying a conspiracy theory that elites want people to eat bugs. A conspiracy theory. Crazy conspiracy theory. The accusations arrived shortly after the EU approved mealworms and crickets as food ingredients. Across the Atlantic, American right-wing pundits and influencers decry a similar plot. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration permits small amounts of insect matter to be included in foods. Quote, "The ruling class really wants us to eat bugs," conservative commentator Michael Knowles said in a YouTube video in January 2022, waving a printout of a Bloomberg opinion piece titled, "Why Bugs Must Be a Bigger Part of the Human Food Chain." Yeah. The story referred to actually focused on insects' potential as high-nutrient animal feed and on insects' ability to process human food waste rather than as food for human consumption. So he was misleading in saying they're expecting people to eat bugs. It was really that they wanted animals to eat bugs. Okay. On March 29th, this is of last year. So March 29th, conservative video outlet Prager University featured man-on-the-street interviews with host Aldo Budazzoni, telling passersby that the World Economic Forum wants you to eat the bugs to save the planet, and asking if they want to eat live crickets and bread, ostensibly made with cricket flour. Including insects in human food has been an emerging, but still marginal idea among climate scientists and food security experts. In countries where insects have not been a part of the diet, it's an idea that has long been met with hesitancy and occasional ridicule. Okay. In recent years, however, this aversion has fused with an amorphous and shape-shifting conspiracy theory in which shadowy global elite conspires to control the world's population. For those who espouse the theory, eating bugs isn't just a matter of disgust or questioning the impacts of climate change. It's framed as a matter of individual freedom and government control. How is it anything but that? How is it anything but that? It's like, if I say you're not allowed to kill a fetus, you look at that as individual control. I'm trying to control women. You want to tell me I can't eat a bug, and you want to tell me it's not about my right to eat animals? What the hell's wrong with you? A brief history of the eating bugs meme. And this part, I read this part, and I was just like, oh, you didn't. Oh, you did not do this. Scientists say it's urgent to cut climate population pollution from agriculture, mainly by reducing meat consumption and eating more plant-based food. Using insects as a source of protein is an idea that floated on the edges of policy debates. Even though the idea is far from taking off. So what? We have to wait until it's actually taking off before we can say hell no? I guess so. It captured the public's imagination in the U.S. in the early 2010s when the press covered the UN reports about edible insects initially as a way to improve food security. This is so disturbing. Imagine shoving that stuff in your mouth. Earlier online discussions about eating insects were mostly reactions to news stories with responses ranging from curiosity to disgust. Take the phrase, I will not eat the bugs, as an example. Some of the earliest instances of the phrase surfaced on the 4chan message board on August 3rd, 30th, 2019. Oh, it's on the racist 4chan. If it's on the racist 4chan, that means it must be racist. It's totally racist. Anonymous users repeated the phrase in response to a photo of climate activist Greta Thunberg, sometimes paired with the phrase, I will not live in a pod, said Sarah Aniano, a disinformation researcher or promoter, depending on how you look at it, at the ADL, who identified 4chan posts for NPR. It kind of started out and continues to be kind of a meme, said Aniano. Some people might be using it earnestly and some people might be using it ironically. The paired phrase, quote, I will not eat the bugs and I will not live in a pod, traveled to Twitter on September 23rd when someone who self-identified as a proud nationalist. So if someone who is self-identified as that, that means that that's the core of their messaging, obviously, right? That means that only people who are, anyone who repeats what that person says is also a nationalist. Well, I'm going to tell you this. You're using his terms all the time. You keep saying good morning all the time. He says that too. So why do you keep saying good morning? You're a freaking racist, idiot. Comments on photos showing a co-living space lined with bunk beds. It did not receive much engagement. The next day, a Twitter account with just over 300 followers tweeted out the phrase in all caps paired with an anime-style image of a young woman screaming. The tweet was liked more than 500 times within a day, and the phrase spread. Quote, I really didn't expect to become a meme. There wasn't much thought behind the owner of the account told NPR. I was just making fun of people getting upset about articles around that time and became a rallying cry. On September 26th, cryptocurrency promoter Nick Carter picked up the phrase and followed up with an image titled Climate Solutions. It showed a car screeching to a side road under a sign, Eat the Bugs, with more nuclear power being the main road. I don't know what that means. He had more than 35,000 followers at the time. I don't know what the nuclear power, I don't understand what this even means. I don't know what that means. Researchers at Social Media Research Foundation, which you know that's a real thing, searched for tweets, and it's not at all a propagandist. It's not any sort of wing of propaganda at all for the Social Media Research Foundation. This is what we need, social media research foundations. Search for tweets and websites links go back to 2018. NPR also reviewed discussions in 2019 before on Google, Facebook, and smaller social platforms like Rumble. Ooh, hey, look, you Rumble folks, they remembered you. They were looking for you because they were looking for the racists. That's what it was. Kiwi Farms and BitChute via Junkipedia and Pira Technologies. This is a list of places that you guys might probably want to check out for social media, which you might not have heard of. So you might not have heard of BitChute or Junkipedia or Pira Technologies. I never heard of them. Probably going to find like-minded folks there, I guess. I don't know. The phrase, quote, I will not eat the bugs would later resurface as part of a COVID-era conspiracy theory about government coercion, but it's difficult to pin down when it began. As COVID-19 swept across the world in 2020, governments imposed mandates on masks and upheld restrictions on social gatherings and travel. The conspiracy theory that global elites were seizing an opportunity or even inventing an excuse to exert more control over an unknown population flourished, including by forcing them to eat insects. Yeah. You see, that when you're exerting control over people, they start getting bothered by it and wondering what other controls you're going to be exerting. See, that's the downside of taking on tones of fascism. When you pick up tones of fascism, people start having concerns that maybe you have fascistic agenda. It's weird how people come to those crazy conclusions. It's very strange. It's very, very strange why people come to those crazy conclusions. But the pandemic wasn't the start, as I will not eat the bugs proliferate on Twitter in September 2019. A science fiction writer published a short story titled "Live in the Pod and Eat Bugs," set in a dystopian world where the characters had no choice but to eat insects. A few months earlier, in April 2019, a few days after a fire destroyed part of the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, a blogger who self-identifies as white identitarian suggested that eating insects is a symbol of our enslavement. That probably was a black dude, right? But they didn't want to say it was a black dude. So that's why they say white identitarian, right? Because why would a white person label themselves white identitarian? I want to see what that is. I clicked the link. I don't even know what the hell white identitarian means. Have you ever heard the phrase white? Have any of you heard the phrase white identitarian? I don't know what the heck I'm it's like loading. See the little circle going up here? I'm just very confused by the phrase white identitarian. All right, this is really going down a rabbit hole. I feel like I'm going down a rabbit hole here. Yeah, okay, I can't do this. There's an undefined they in charge, says Ciaran O'Connor, a senior analyst at Nonprofit Institute for Strategic Dialogue, reviewing posts for NPR. We would have almost no luxuries and would work for whatever minor consumption would be allowed. I definitely see New World Order overtones. In this iteration, they're going to make you eat bugs, he observes. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Before I get into the whole New World Order and what the people who are saying eats the bugs are really saying, before I get into that, let me cover some comments that come in here while I've been doing the preface for the heart of this story. The heart of this story. JBS lost 50,000 cattle in a fire from Baidu and Baidu Biden attack. I don't know what you're trying to say here. I'm not sure what you're trying to say, Postmaster. Sorry. Other than that, 50,000 cattle are dead. Just came in and we talked about the 320,000 illegals being brought into the country by plane on our dime to 42 airports. It's actually in the first 3 minutes. I think I covered that. The first 10 minutes for sure. I referenced it. The FDA has allowed bug parts in U.S. food since at least the 70s. My mother gave a talk on it when I was a kid. They just weren't pushing bugs as a full meal back then. It was limited to ppm then. Yeah, because that's a very big difference. It's a very big difference. It's the difference between a fly accidentally flying into your mouth and you being kind of grossed out about it versus becoming a frog and just zipping your tongue around the room looking for your next meal. See, that there's a very big difference between that. I know you're not trying to be, I'm just saying to the people who are trying to say, I know you're not trying to be like trollish or anything like that. And I hope you don't take what I was saying the wrong way, Debbie. I know that you're awesome. But that's really what the difference is between what we had in the 70s versus what's being advocated for now with the whole eats a bugs. Difference between basically, accidentally swallowing a fly versus being hungry. She needs to follow science. Everyone should Google eating less meat won't save the planet. Here's why. A video by UC Davis scientist. See, that's interesting. That's interesting. Everyone should eating less meat won't save the planet. Now how long? Is this gonna be like an hour and a half? I have a feeling. That I'm very curious about. 23 minutes. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. All right. I'm gonna maybe we'll check that out shortly. We'll see. Thank you, Prospering Women. I really hope you're going to cover the Tyson Foods bug processing plant article I sent you on Twitter. Tyson Foods. You want me to go to Twitter now? I don't have time for all this stuff. You guys have so much homework you want to give me. Everyone give me homework. I don't see it. A second. Wait a second. I see you sent me. Oh, there it is. Wait, when did you send it? Oh, here it is. Wow. Yeah, okay, I'm going to include this for sure. Thank you. Thank you, yeah. I think that's a good thing to add in here. In fact, Kimmy Joe is saying Tyson Foods just invested in a cricket farm. We're going to look at that very soon. Instead of saying, here comes the airplane, when feeding a kid, say, here comes the roach. God. I want a long tongue and able to hop like a frog, apparently. Maybe that's why I started on 4chan. No? Pepe the Frog? Who knows? All right. Make sure I didn't miss anything over on Locals or Rumble. Make sure I'm good over here. I'm good over here. I'm good over here. Yeah, I'm good here. Okay, good. All right. Yeah, I wasn't trolling you. I don't plan on eating whole bugs either. Yeah, I hope not. I knew you weren't. I knew you weren't trolling me. All right. From the New World Order to the Great Reset. The New World Order that O'Connor refers to as a decades-old conspiracy theory, which that we know is basically, that's like elitist speak for, oh my God, they actually figured us out. Describing a world shadow government often involving Jewish people. Look at this shameless. Why do you have to do this? It's like this is not something anyone is thinking about. But no, you have to try and draw this into being anti-Semitic, that not wanting to eat bugs is somehow anti-Semitic. You make this dystopian perspective reality by decrying it this way. Who the hell is even thinking along these lines? Nobody's thinking this. Nobody at all is thinking this, but all of a sudden it's like, oh, you see why they're saying don't eat the bugs or eat the bugs? It's because they're basically trying to be anti-Semites. Oh my God. It's like just logic goes like in this whole circle type of thing. I don't understand what the heck they're talking about. Why does everything have to be like all of a sudden, oh my God, this is why Jonathan Greenblatt and the ADL are such terrible people. Terrible people. It's because you make people hate Jews. You literally make people hate Jews. Because all of a sudden now you start saying that, oh, don't say you. This is what they're really trying to say here with this stupid line. This stupid line is designed to tell you if you say eats the bugs in a mocking tone, you're anti-Semite. That's what it's trying to say. That's what it's trying to say. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? So basically, what you're saying is, if you don't want to eat bugs, you hate Jews. What the hell's wrong with you? My God, this is just stupid. It's so stupid. It's got nothing to do with anything of the kind. But you have to try and tie it in as like, this is why you shouldn't say it, because if you say it, that means you don't like. No, it's because I'm saying it because who the hell wants to eat bugs? They're bugs. They're gross. They're disgusting. But it's like, how can I tie in over here that there's some sort of racism that's linked in here with in order to help shield my stupid agenda from any form of criticism? It's like it's like you have to hate Jews to write this paragraph. You do. You have to hate Jews to write this paragraph. Who is this bitch? Who is this? Huo Jinghan. What, is that the only thing they ever wrote? Can I find you, Huo? This is the only stupid article at this. Obviously, Huo Jingnan. Obviously, that's a very British name right there. God. Gets me so angry, these people. The name is based on a book published in the 1990s by conservative Christian podcaster Pat Robinson. What the hell? It mostly stayed on the fringe of public consciousness until early 2020, when many people questioned the stay-at-home measures put in place to stop the spread of COVID-19. It got an extra boost during the World Economic Forum's annual meeting in Davos, Switzerland in July 2020, when Chairman Klaus Schwab announced an initiative called the Great Reset. It's like, why he actually admitted it, God only knows. Vague and sprawling, the Great Reset urged a rethinking of national and global systems of government in the wake of COVID-19. The gathering of global elites in Davos has long held the imagination of conspiracy theorists, and the initiative quickly became construed as evidence that global elites were using the outbreak to further enslave the masses, because they are. The Great Reset is just the New World Order repackaged, says O'Connor, because it is. Within months, the Great Reset entered the right-wing vernacular with figures such as Tucker Carlson, Laura Ingram, Shapiro, and Glenn Beck, all echoing the idea, according to a report by Institute for Strategic Dialogue. What's strategic dialogue? That's basically propaganda machine. That's what strategic dialogue, right? How do we propagandize? That's why we have an Institute for Strategic Dialogue. Why would you have to have an Institute for Strategic? How is that not the PR, the biggest PR machine name in the world? Institute for Strategic Dialogue. Jesus, hate these people. During the annual meeting on the World Economic Forum in 2022, I think I sound like more cynical when my throat is hoarse from illness. Do I sound more cynical today? I think I sound more cynical. It's possible. During the annual meeting for the World Economic Forum, which that name alone should just be sending chills down your spine, conservative pundit Noor bin Laden, I don't know, further brought up insect eating as part of the Great Reset during an appearance on former Trump advisor Steve Bannon's show. I don't want to eat the bugs. I don't want to live in a pod. I don't want to be trapped in a digital jail, and nothing they can do will make me, she said. Memes with similar wording have been circulating on social media. One of the major differences between the old New World Order conspiracy theories and the Great Reset is their prominence, says O'Connor. The Great Reset has been adapted and adopted by leading prominent political figures in many, many countries in a way that's new, says O'Connor. Because they literally admit it. This is so stupid. Like, how desperate are you to gaslight that even when they literally say things out loud, you have to say that anyone who's calling attention to what they're saying out loud is a crazy conspiracy theorist. Like, you're out of your freaking minds. Like, who believes this crap? This is very immediately the Great Reset is a left-wing thing, and our response we're pro-freedom, and it is a right-wing thing. Right-wing figures can demonize their opponents by tying these conspiracies to them, says the ADL's Aniano. Go to hell, Aniano. She notes that those who have supported eating insects only suggest doing so on a voluntary basis. No, they don't. On a voluntary basis. No, they don't. You specifically said you don't want to see any flashback, any cutback on this crap until it actually starts taking flight. So stop with your freaking lies. We're so wise to your lies. The Great Reset has become catch-all, absorbing opposition to many different kinds of climate initiatives. In the UK, protesters flocked to Oxford from across the country in February to protest policy proposals that reduce traffic and increase walkability, many citing the conspiracy theory and claiming that the government wants to turn cities into open-air prisons. You are what you eat. Eating insects is alien to our normal way of life. All of this is anti-human, anti-life on this planet, said Alex Jones on his InfoWars show. Eating insects is repulsive on Americans, said Fox News host Tucker Carlson. It is. It completely is. The reality is that insects and their cousins are part of many cultures' diets today. So you're sitting here trying to sell it while saying it's conspiracy theory. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? and have been for a long time. Mexicans put grasshoppers in their tacos. Japanese cook them in soy sauce. You should try one. Insects such as silkworms are part of the diet for many living in Southeast Asia and China. Ancient Greeks and Romans ate insects. Aristotle wrote of cicadas. And don't tell me it's cicadas, okay? It's cicadas. I don't want to hear cicadas from none of you, all right? It's cicadas. And this is not all a tomato thing. This is because A, that's a gross analogy given the context of this entire conversation. And B, it's only cicadas, and it's not cicadas, it's cicadas. At first, the males are the sweeter. Jesus. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is so gross. Oh my God. Oh God. Oh. Males are the sweeter eating, but after copulation, the females, as they are full then of white eggs. Pliny the Elder documented that Roman epicures of his day enjoy moth grubs flattened on flour and wine. Romans were disgusting. So were the Greeks. They were gross. Very into culture and very gross people. God. Ugh. That's funny, Mud Puppy. That's funny. Let's see, I pull up normal people sometimes. All right. So, insect colonies in modern-day Western Europe declined in the 13th century due to what climatologists call the Little Ice Age, which may have put an end to the tradition of eating insects in the region, says Julie Lesnick, an associate professor of biology and anthropology at Wayne State University in Detroit. When Europeans first sailed to what is now the Americas, they encountered indigenous people who included insects in their diet and reacted with revulsion. Yeah, because there were even Americans at that point. Diego Alvarez Chanco, who sailed with Christopher Columbus on a second voyage, wrote a letter. They eat all the snakes and lizards and spiders and worms that they find upon the ground, so that, to my fancy, their bestiality is greater than that of any beast upon the face of the earth. Such racist. See? It's racist to not want to eat bugs. There was very much an idea that you are what you eat back then. Not anymore. Not anymore. It's not anymore. You are what you eat. Jesus. And so the Europeans felt they needed European food, says Lesnick. There's very much aware that if you ate the indigenous foods, you would become a sap. Oh my God. You're crazy people. You're crazy people. They're bugs. How much more? They're just bugs. Conservative media influences continue to tap into the sentiment today. I don't want to live like a peasant in the middle of a jungle in Vietnam. I want to live like a civilized person with a cultural inheritance, says Knowles in response to Bloomberg article. I'm not going to eat the bugs. Lesnick sees a through line between the early colonizers and conservative outrage today. The easiest punching bag is to pick on something that looks uncivilized. So what you're basically saying is it is civilized to eat bugs, and there's nothing wrong with it. But only conspiracy theorists think that there's are the ones who are spreading disinformation that there's an attempt to get us to eat bugs. You're sitting here in your own stupid article saying these punching bags pick on something that looks uncivilized. You're not willing to call it uncivilized. People are gross. This was an article from a year ago. And it sets up, why I bring this up now, because it sets up this that happened a couple of days ago. Bloomberg published an article, an op-ed, telling us that we will eat the bugs, but NPR told me this was a racist conspiracy theory. Yeah, I'll come to that in a moment. Let me get back to that in a moment. Let me catch up on some of the chats here. Damon Blackfire. Aren't bugs bottom feeders that make them unclean to eat? I think. If so, wouldn't it be apostasy, anti-Semitism to force Jews to eat them? Well, you see, this is what you don't understand. First and foremost, bugs are not kosher. That is correct. We're not allowed to eat things that are unclean, and we're not allowed to eat things that crawl on the ground. Technically, to be technical, so that there's no misrepresentation about laws of being kosher. There were certain forms of cricket that at one point that was considered kosher thousands of years ago. But there was all sorts of arguments amongst rabbinic scholars as to which ones are definitely kosher and which ones are definitely not kosher. So basically, we set a ban on eating anything because we'd rather just not eat any of them. At the end of the day, today, and for the last, I don't know, 1,000 years, Jews have not eaten bugs. In fact, we actually have all sorts of dietary considerations about concerns of tiny, tiny, tiny little bugs. There's all sorts of regulations that we have with respect to eating strawberries, because strawberries tend to have, ever since they stopped using DDT, strawberries tend to have very, very tiny bugs that hide in them. And the ability to wash them off is not so simple. A lot of you probably don't even realize that issue. But we basically, when we eat strawberries, every strawberry gets like scrubbed and scrubbed because they're able to hide in strawberries very, very effectively. But we are, when it comes to eating lettuce and things of that nature, there's a whole industry of kosher vegetables that, instead of being based on being organic, is based on primarily with lettuce, as far as keeping our vegetables bug free. And basically raising, part of it, I believe, includes hydroponic type of growth, so you don't have to deal with bugs in soil. But I'm not sure about that last element of it, so don't quote me on that part. But I will tell you that we do not eat bugs. Now, why is it that they're saying that the Jews want us to eat bugs? Well, the people who would be promoting this are the people on the left, and they don't really care very much about kosher. They tend to be very irreligious Jews, the leftist Jews. So, in fact, it's very rare to find anyone who's a practicing Jew who's a real leftist. Very rare indeed. So that's why I tell you that, so they don't care about laws of what's kosher or not, or we would call kashrut. They don't care about kashrut at all. So, good question. But there you go. We do not eat bugs. Gross. The thought of eating bugs basically is like, I feel like Homer Simpson being asked to clean, I don't know, Selma's toes, Patty and Selma's toes, or something like that. Jenny, the bugs are trying to make fetch happen. Yes, indeed. That's pretty funny. Stop trying to make bugs happen. Stop trying to make bugs happen. The insanity of some people who scream about corporate involvement in government, the 17 intel agencies and the 48 regulating agencies are incapable of understanding the concept of a deep state. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's like they are it themselves and they don't even realize it. I suspect derivatives are already in the ingredients of all our foods. I think it's probably not. I don't think there's derivatives of bugs in all our foods. But Damon Blackfire, Romans also disenfranchised actors and executing senators sought their political advice by throwing off a high place. Should we also emulate that? Yeah, it's like it's the height of culture. I suspect the derivatives already. Oh, we got this already. Sorry, Joe, but Oxford English says cicadas. Cicadas? No, it's cicadas. Cicadas. Look, okay, I'm going to share with you something here. I grew up with the mean cicadas. Okay, like cicadas. Chick odd, like an odd chick. Cicadas. Now, I will tell you this. I will make one confession as far as like a very jarring thing that happened to me. I want to say roughly 10 to 15 years ago. So my wife, Lady Lawgic, is very well read. she reads all the time. And so her vocabulary developed, but a lot of things that she would read, so in her brain, she would hear the word. If she came across a new word that she didn't know, so in her brain, she would pronounce the word a certain way, which often was incorrect. So, and then when it would come up in conversation and she would use the word, she invariably used it properly, but would mispronounce it. And I would tease her about that because, you need to tease your wife from time to time. So I would tease her about that. Well, one time the word MEAD came up and she pronounced it mead. And I was laughing at her, telling her it's pronounced med. Now, and she's like, but it's read. Like if it's READ, it's read. I said, it's also red. So she's like, no, that's wrong. That's totally wrong. So we had this ongoing argument about it that was going on for, I don't even know how long. And sure enough, we're at a Renaissance fair. And a Renaissance fair, she went over to someone who was drinking ale or whatever. And she's like, what's that drink called? And the guy says, oh, have you a hearty mug of mead. And she just looked at me and I was like, no. And what I realized is this: that pronunciation I actually got from my first generation grandfather who came over from Eastern Europe. And I never really noticed an accent that he had. So he used to refer to it as med. And that's where I got it from the time I was 5, 6 years old, is that he had med, what he called med. But I recognized that I got it wrong. So sometimes it's possible that we pick up stuff in our youth that is not really correct. I'm going to tell you, I've been seeing cicadas since I'm a little boy. And to me, they're always going to be cicadas, not cicadas, not cicadas, or whatever it is you want to call them. That's just the way it is. But there you go. Does that mean that the rest of the world will necessarily agree with me on that? Arguably, possibly not. It possibly is possible that some will argue with me. I'm just going to say my pronunciation sounds right. Joe, does the best cicada caviar come from Russia, like sturgeon caviar? Okay, no. I have had caviar, and that's gross. Caviar is the most overrated, expensive food on the planet. I don't understand why anyone thinks caviar is tasty or something that should be eaten by humans. It's gross. It is gross. And someone explained to me the allure of caviar, because I don't get it. I don't understand it. Ooh, have some fine caviar. No. It's like people pretend to like caviar because it's expensive. But it's not. It's not any good. See, it is a plot to make the game eat bugs that we won't. Taimanim still eat a particular species of locust per story from David Tendler. See, maybe they do. Like I said, I call them cricket. Some call locust, whatever. Some type of locust, whatever. Maybe they do, but we haven't eaten them in 1,000 years at least. Taimanim are like Sephardic Jews who have a whole different, some of the rabbinic laws that we have came after we went diaspora 1900 years ago, 1950 years ago. So Jews split in different parts of the world, and when rabbinic authorities would get together and make decisions that lasted for the next 2,000 years. So if they made a decision in Europe that might not be known to people who are living in Persia, and they would never know about it, or in Africa. One problem with eating insects is that all insects with exoskeletons contain chitin, the allergen in crustaceans, deadly to 6 times more people than peanuts. Really? I did not know that. When you talk about deadly peanuts and peanut allergies, someone pointed out to me how there's a lot more people who have peanut allergies today than they used to have. And theories as to why it is. A lot of people want to blame. I don't mean the new one. I mean the old ones. But I can't talk about that here. I'm on YouTube. And I certainly know nothing about medicine. I'm an ignorant fool when it comes to medicine. Everyone knows that. Definitely don't be getting medical advice from me. Do not get medical advice from me. All right. So let's look at what Bloomberg was reporting a couple days ago. So a year ago, NPR was telling us there's a crazy conspiracy theory. The people, they want us to eat bugs. And Not the Bee brought this to my attention. So Bloomberg published an op-ed telling us that we'll eat the bugs, but NPR told me this was a racist conspiracy theory. You will eat the bugs and like it. We will need a sustainable option for feeding nearly 10 billion people. Creepy crawlies could be the way. That's what they write. Let's see what he has to say on this.
Well, President Biden has risen from his slumber to issue a fiery condemnation of the inaction of the Republicans in Congress. Because, of course, when it comes to action, you just can't rival.
That wasn't it. Oh, maybe it's that. That's probably it. Sorry about that. I'm not sure what happened there. Oh, I see what happened there. My bad. I'm not sure what exactly would induce me to eat bugs. I mean, if you held a gun to my head, I guess I'd do it. But Jessica Carl seems to think she can just sell us on the sheer culinary aspect of it all. This is how her article starts. I tried clicking on it, and Bloomberg literally wanted to charge me $200 to like sign up for them for a year. And I was just like, no, go to hell. You're Bloomberg. I don't need you for one stupid article that you have. Stupid op-ed. Picture, this is how the article starts. Picture this. It's 2093. Your great-great-granddaughter is hosting a dinner party for her friends tonight in honor of the total solar eclipse. She starts on the bug board, taking care to assemble the tinned locusts. The hot honey hornets are next. After that, it's scorpion kimchi and the ant guacamole. Then she takes the baked kasu marzu, a Sardinian cheese that contains live insect larvae, out of the oven and tops it with fall caviar. Wanting to keep dessert simple, she drone-ordered Michelini's ice cream. Guests can top it with cricket sprinkles if they want. God. Ugh. God. Ah, yes, tin locusts, guacamole made from ants, sprinkles made from cave crickets. Oh, and fall caviar, just be extra woke. Eat all the insects you want, but don't you dare pick up a can of beluga. You notice that Jessica Carl also envisioned your great-great-granddaughter ordering Michelini's ice cream? I don't even know what Michelino's ice cream. Hey, that sounds pretty normal, doesn't it? What the hell is Michelino's ice cream? What's Michelino? Is that some sort of leftist, like, fancy ice cream thing? Oh, it's made of cricket flour, heavy cream, vanilla extract, and honey, and tops it with dried whole crickets. Jesus. See, I'm confused because less than 8 months ago, taxpayer-funded NPR told me that I was racist for thinking elites want me to eat bugs. Here's what they said. Opponents of the theory lean on anti-Semitic trope that global elites have a plot to control the masses. In this case, under the guise of climate change solutions by forcing them to eat bugs. And now the Bloomberg op-ed from yesterday. We need a sustainable option for feeding nearly 10 billion people. Creepy crawlies could be the way. Malthusians always think we're about to run out of food. Now we have surpluses because of personal freedom that's allowed tech to grow by leaps and bounds. Poverty is halving in the world every 20 years, and we're supporting nearly 7 billion more people than there were 100 years ago with little issue. You tell me that we can't come up with ways to farm and ranch more efficiently, and we'll need cricket powder factories instead? Definitely not. Just last year, there was a dystopian conspiracy theory about governments forcing enslaved people to eat bugs. But these scary narratives couldn't be further from the truth. They're fine for snacking, but insect protein has its greatest potential as a nutrient-rich, climate-friendly livestock feed, as Amanda Little's previously explained. By making animal food out of fly larvae and mealworms, poultry and livestock meat should become much more affordable for human consumption. Okay, so you're not going to make me eat bugs? You're just going to have my beef eat the bugs? Whoever chose the headline knew what they were doing, I suppose. It definitely got attention, just the wrong kind. If you're a serious outlet, you'd instead argue how to use food waste to feed insects, which can serve as protein supplements for animal agriculture instead of row crops. But no, you just hate civilization. Steak. Yeah, anything else. It's called farming. Yeah, normal food. No thanks, I'll starve. We're not going to eat the bugs. So there you go. There you go. I'll only join a cult of meat eaters, no bugs. Well, I'm going to tell you this. You can feel free to join here. It's not at all a cult type of cult, but you can feel free to join here because there's definitely no bugs. There's no bugs here. Bugs are gross. Bugs are disgusting. There's no bugs here. Even though it's mockery when we say eats the bugs. Stay happy, eats the bugs. That's mockery. Definitely mockery. So feel free to join the following. And no one's going to ever force you to eat bugs. Quite the contrary. We heavily discourage it. But Debbie called this to my attention. I do want to pull it up. So let's check this out. Major U.S. meat producer are forced to open WEF insect plant. But wait, what's this? One of America's largest meat producers has been forced to open a major World Economic Forum connected insect processing plant in the U.S. What? Tyson Foods, largest producer in America for a variety of meats, is buying a stake in World Economic Forum connected insect protein company Protix BV. And when they say Protix, they really mean to spell T-I-C-K-S. Because they're basically getting their protein off the backs of deer and hoping that they don't clamp into their flesh. The company has been officially approved by the World Economic Forum and was awarded with Globalist Organization's Technology Pioneer Award. And then reports Protix CEO Keeps Arts is also listed as a member of the World Economic Forum. The two companies will collaborate to establish a manufacturing facility in the U.S. No one's going to have to eat this. No one. The new plant will produce bug-based meal and oil typically used in fish feed and dog food. However, Tyson CFO John Tyson said in an interview that in the long run, the company will produce products that are good for people. What the hell does that mean? What the hell does that mean? Give me one moment here. Lord help me. Okay. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry opportunity that has tremendous growth potential. We'll see Protix as being a leader there. Jeez. Tyson added that insect protein inclusion can be beneficial to both the plant and the animals. Financial terms of the deal weren't disclosed, according to Bloomberg. Protix already supplies insect-based protein to pet food makers Nestle, SA, and Mars. The company was established in 2009 in partnership with Tyson to expand operations internationally. It's definitely a huge way to establish ourselves in an international context, Protix CEO Keys Arts said. He added that a deal with Tyson is a tipping point we've been working for. Arts said the U.S. plant will be fully operational by 2025. He said the new facility will be 4 times larger than its existing facility in the Netherlands. Jesus. They can't push us into eating bugs until they have sustainable bug industry. This doesn't sound at all like a science fiction plan. The star of a science fiction horror movie. God. World Economic Forum, major corporations have been increasingly pushing for the reset of global food supply chain. WEF has been very vocal about how the masses must give up beef due to alleged emissions involved in producing meat. Instead, the public must eat insects, the WEF insists. You must eat the bugs to save the planet. Tucker calls out how the WEF's Great Reset is an attack on humanity. Let's hear from Tucker on this.
We begin tonight with a report on something that matters to everyone, to every human being, the food that you eat. And that food may be changing. All of a sudden, the people in charge, politicians, billionaire oligarchs, celebrities, are telling you you have to fight climate change by changing what you eat. Now, you may not want to change what you eat. No one ever voted on that. But democracy doesn't matter when it comes to the food supply. Here's a first look at the trailer for our season 3 premiere of Let Them Eat Bugs.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, but we are in the midst of the fourth industrial revolution, which accelerates global change. Global energy systems, food systems, and supply chains will be deeply affected. It means investing into a greener and therefore more sustainable economy. Climate change can lead to an extinction of large parts of our global population.
Okay, it's time for us. I gotta tell you this. We need to be way more aggressive about denying climate change, man-made climate change. We need to be way more aggressive about this. I think we've been too passive. I think it took hold in our consciousness. I'm watching this and I'm like, between this and the EVs and tearing down, we need to be way more aggressive about this. Way more aggressive. We ceded way too much ground on this. I'm tired of it. I'm going to say this right here. I know I've said it before, but you know what? There's 860 people watching me on YouTube. There's over 1,000 people watching me somewhere. It's 300 on Rumble. I'm going to say this right now. Okay. The entire man-made climate change thing is a complete and total farce. It's a hoax. Okay. It's not real. It is not real. The entire thing was sold to us as basically as part of this whole great reset thing. I mean, even if there was no great reset, even if there was no great reset at all, even if that was nothing at all, there is no science, there's no supportable science behind it. It is all science that has been purchased by it's basically the same science that the tobacco industry put out in the 60s when they were trying to pretend that smoking wasn't bad, was completely healthy. Okay, it is complete crap. And we need to start pushing back on this narrative. Not that you should be ashamed of saying climate change isn't real, but that you should have T-shirts that say climate change, the climate change hoax, because that's what this is. I'm tired of this because it has basically opened up this industry where it's like you can't buy it, you can't tap. We have to impoverish ourselves by basically abdicating anything having to do with fossil fuels, and we have to start getting rid of plant life. We have to start getting rid of bugs, of cattle farming, and basically submit to whatever policies are going to come down the pike. I'm tired of it. And people call you a science denier. People will clip this and call me a science denier. Go to hell. I'm actually a science believer. You just don't have the science. When you prove it, good God bless. But you never will prove it because it's not true. And every time you have your all periodic tables and all your different timelines for when how warmth has been, how the climate has changed, any sort of periods which disrupt your whole narrative, you basically decide I'm going to carve those periods out. I'm tired of it. And you need to stand up proudly and say, no, I'm not a sucker for this climate change hoax. Okay? I'm tired of it. I'm really tired of it. And anyone who's trying to pitch it basically has an agenda. They're either a sucker and they're a useful idiot for the climate change activists, or they are the evil purveyors of it themselves. There's no two ways about it. I'm tired of this. I'm really, really tired of it. Okay? No, I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up my meat. I'm not okay with my kids having to give up the meat or my grandkids having to give up the meat. Okay? No. I'm not going to be forced into buying an electric car when we have electric grid, which can't even possibly sustain the amount of cars that we have. I'm just going to do nothing to fix anything. All your solutions don't do anything. Don't do anything. They just make China laugh at us for being suckers, where basically we have this whole cottage industry now, which is basically the virtue signal cottage industry of, oh, okay, I'm going to farm out the energy I'm using, not use fossil fuels here at home, and instead I'll farm that out to China so they can get rich off of our backs. I'm so tired of Americans not standing up for America, and basically allowing these people who are totally happy to purvey complete mythology as if it's science. Okay, I'm tired of it. I'm really, really tired of it. So no, I'm done with it. I'm not going to be embarrassed to basically say the whole man-made climate change is a hoax. The climate has been changing for as long as it's been recorded. There's been changes in the climate. That's what happens. You want to sit here saying when you have no idea how much added CO2 there is in the atmosphere today versus 50 years ago, 100 years ago, and certainly 500 years ago, or 1,000 years ago, or 10,000 years ago. And all these people believe that the planet, every one of these greenhouse emission alarmists are all claiming that the world has been here for, 10 million years. You have no idea what the atmosphere looked like at that point in time. You don't know what it ever looked like. You don't even know what it looks like today. All these people talk about CO2 and they think that there's 5% CO2 in the atmosphere, which is actually like, I don't know, 0.06% or something. But they sit there thinking that they know anything. They know nothing. They know nothing. But worse than knowing nothing is that they're so inflated with Dunning-Kruger into claiming that, oh, I have the moral superiority because I actually know the science. I'm sick of it. I'm so tired of it. Every one of them, I'm convinced, has been bought off or feels like they can get. And I say bought off, it doesn't mean literally that someone gave them money. It means that they get grant money. They know they can get more grant money, the more they can do to basically promote this climate change agenda. Because anyone who, if you could be a moron in politics, which, let's face it, how many people in politics are not morons? But even a moron can see the opportunity for control and for growth and for self-enrichment if you basically promote this theory as actually having any sort of legs to it. I'm tired of it. I've been saying it since the day I got on the air that I never believed in it. And back then, I actually said it sheepishly because I was concerned that many of my audience would look at me like I was crazy. Okay? I'm past those days. I'm at a stage now where I'm telling you now, anyone who they call a conspiracy theorist, that those are the people who are almost certainly lying to you. And all the people and everyone who denies climate change is being man-made, all of a sudden, they're all labeled conspiracy theorists. Anytime someone comes to you and says 97% of anything, like they said with this whole stupid climate change thing, 97% of scientists all agree that man-made climate change is real. That was an utter lie. There's never 97% consensus in science on anything short of gravity. Somebody of this theory, they basically, when they say 97% of scientists, half of the scientists are podiatrists. Know more about ecology than you or I do. 97% of scientists, idiots. Tired of this, the lies that have been shoved down our throats, and we accepted it because it all came to us under the rubric of science. And you have to be crazy to deny science, right? We all accepted it because it had that heady title of "This is what the science says." This is what the science says. It really was that scientists were just embarrassed to admit that we just don't know. Because apparently saying "I don't know," which used to be inspiration for further scientific research, is all of a sudden now some sort of admission of weakness or failings on your part. It's totally okay to say we don't know. So but they have all these theoretical problems that are going to come in the future, and all these projections from all these brilliant minds, brilliant freaking minds who are all able to project exactly what's going to be 30 years from now, 50 years from now, 100 years from now, and yet have no idea what's going to happen 6 days from now. But they're all sitting here trying to fix problems that they're worried are coming down the road in 5 years, 10 years, 12 years. We're reaching an existential crisis that is always 6 years away. It doesn't matter what day it is. It's always 6 years or 12 years away. That existential crisis is continually another 12 years away. God willing, my great-great-great-grandkids will be walking the earth, and the existential crisis of climate change will still be 12 years away. It'll always be 12 years away, 15 years away. We have to fix it now. Fix it now. Fix it now. Big fat liars. I'm sick of them. I'm sick of all of them. No patience for any of them. And we need to call them out for being liars. You don't understand the science. You don't know the answers to these questions. And the solutions that you're suggesting would not be helpful, even if we would self-immolate into accepting them and trying to indoctrinate them into society. So shove off with your stupid ideas and come back to us when you actually have real answers for actual real problems. It's like this cottage industry that started as a cottage industry of going green, and now it's basically become like, one of the most dominant. We have ESG, for crying out loud, starting with environment, for crying out. Am I advocating that we should be allowed to pollute the earth as much as we want? No, I'm definitely not saying that. And that's how people will misinterpret this, as if I'm totally fine with corporations like dumping, millions of barrels of oils into our rivers, lakes, and oceans. I'm not okay with that either. I'm not saying to be purposefully wasteful. I'm not saying that people shouldn't be punished if they're intentionally inducing toxins into the atmosphere. But don't tell me that it's the smoke coming from the smokestacks that all of a sudden is ruining the earth. I mean, please look at the smokestacks that were over London. Why didn't we build in the 19th century? All the coal that was burning there in condensed London. Somehow there was no hole in the ozone that was burnt then. I'm tired of this. I'm so sick of this. The city was, they thought it was fog when it was actually like you couldn't breathe in that city. Had that for like, I don't know, dozens of years, hundreds of years potentially, who knows. All of a sudden now, this is like This is like our atmosphere is changing. We haven't been able to measure our atmosphere for even 100 years, but people are telling us what it was like, not just here, but like in Nigeria versus in Iceland versus in Greenland versus in Australia versus what was in China. When they don't know, no one knows what it was. It's like, oh, we know. You don't know anything. And when you're sitting here claiming you know stuff that you clearly could not possibly know, that's when we know you're a liar and you have an agenda. And that agenda is purely selfish to the detriment of others, likely you, meaning society. I'm tired of it. And these charlatans have to be exposed. They have to be exposed. So instead of tolerating it, just say, no, you don't have the science. It's all mythological. Okay? I don't believe in man-made in man-made climate change. I also don't believe in Apollo. Okay? I don't believe in Zeus either. Or Jupiter or Mercury. I don't believe in any of that crap. I'm tired of this. Just as much science behind those philosophies. Ganesh is telling me that there's climate change. Oh, Ganesh is coming to tell you about climate change. Go to hell. I'm sick of this. I'm sorry for that little. I'm sitting here looking at this imagery here. I'm like, this is just disturbing. That we've gotten to this place. How the hell we get to a place like this? Look at this. Look at this. Oh, start looking at it. What kind of locusts we could be eating? Shove it up you. Shove it any other orifice than your mouth. God, I hate these people. Joe, what do you think of stop and frisk coming back to New York City? Deployment of National Guard in search of bags entering subway. They have no idea how to solve the crisis that's happening in New York City. They have no idea. They have no idea how to solve this. Ryan Long had a great bit about New York City not fully expecting their bragging about taking on illegal immigrants to actually be the amount that it's been. And he compares it to like the guy's like, yeah, man, he's like, because he's like, originally, maybe I can find it. See, it's a little off color. It's a little off color for my branding. I'm not gonna kid you. It's a little off color. He's very funny, but he's also not something that like I want my kids to actually stumble on, like when they're going through my records, when they're going through my records in 100 years and looking through my YouTube archives. I don't want them to see this. I'm playing this on my channel, so we'll save that. But yeah, they don't know what to do. So stop and frisk. Not surprised. Deployment of National Guard in search of bags entering subway. They created a crisis. They have no idea what to do. I'm still waiting for the 1970s ice age. Oh, it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's right here. It's right around the corner. In 1980, they said that the Great Lakes are going to be dried up in 15 years. Just because you're crazy doesn't make climate change real. Joseph! How are you, my brother? Good to see you. When tens of millions of dinosaurs walking on Earth, each being 20 times the size of a cow, and they didn't destroy the Earth. Yep. I know. Why didn't there farts? What about dinosaur farts? What happened with dinosaur farts? That's a great question you're implying there, Wellesley. Why didn't dinosaur farts destroy the Earth? Or maybe that's what brought the Ice Age. You didn't know how the Ice Age came. Now you know. Now you know. Too many dinosaurs farting, basically, is what destroyed the world. That's my new scientific theory. Too many dinosaur farts. That's what brought the Ice Age. You don't know. You don't know. I like that theory. That theory is way more intelligent. It's way more intelligent. That was the problem. Dinosaur farts. So those woolly mammoth farts, damn it. Oh my God, that's hilarious. That's freaking hilarious. That's awesome. Woolly mammoth farts. Where's the saber-tooth tiger farts? We're gonna get rid of all animals? It's only cows that fart, apparently. Let's kill all the whales. World Economic Forum actually made their climate change that had lost momentum, and they are planning on pivoting to water scarcity to control the populace. Yeah, it's good. We need to be more aggressive in basically saying it's a scam, and we're tired of your scam. Your scam ran its course, and we're done with it. We see through it for what it is. Okay, when AOC is trying to pitch it, you know it's stupidity. 97% of scientists claim was made by cartoonists that read climate science papers and didn't understand what they were saying. That's likely true. It's almost certainly true. K-Vel says, in fact, scientists that were mentioned in the article read it and laughed and stated the guy didn't understand the science they were putting forth. Almost, yeah. I have no doubt. It's the stupidest thing in the world. And yet people still throw that out. To this day, people still throw that out. Joe, play the clip of climate idiots blocking the road into Burning Man. It's hilarious. I didn't see that. Epic Joe Rant, thanks for being so consistent with your coverage. You've been killing. Oh, that's very kind of you. Thank you, H Coffee. I appreciate you. I'll love one now and then. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right. So that's my coverage on the whole eating the bugs. What is this?
American men and women are set to be.
Sorry. There's some Klaus Schwab thing. I don't want to see this. I don't know. All right. There was one more thing I wanted to share with you here. This is a good thing to close on. This made me sort of chuckle when I started watching. I'm not going to watch the whole thing here. TYT in trouble. What happens next? This is what TYT called this clip. TYT in trouble. What happens next? Look at this.
Over 50 different digital media companies.
Whoops. Sorry. Now, I'm cautioning you. That I believe that Cenk Uygur is so accustomed to giving false information that even his opening statement about 50 digital media companies, I don't know that I trust that, because I don't trust him about any information he provides on any topic. Really, I don't trust him at all. But the notion that he believes that's 50 is indicative that it has been happening with increased frequency, the shutting down of mainstream media.
Over 50 different digital media companies have already gone under. So in the last 12 months or so, it's been, for lack of a better word, a bloodbath. And
Yep. Mainstream media. Okay. No one believes us. No one wants to watch us anymore.
so every day, since I'm also on the business side, I read the business stuff. And every day, 800 employees laid off, 10% of their workforce laid off.
Yep.
2,000 employees laid off.
Yep.
Company goes under.
Yep.
Another one goes under.
Yep.
Right? So, look, I know it's kind of raw, but I'm going to show you some of the things here. Let's show you a graphic about the news industry. This gives you a tiny taste of it. There's like dozens and dozens of headlines like,
news industry off to brutal start. 2024 as mass layoffs devastate publishers, raising questions about the future of journalism. No, those questions, Oliver Darcy, about the future of journalism is because too many journalists are espousing the same propaganda that you espouse. Oh no, our careers are in jeopardy. What will I do if I cannot be a member of the media working for some big fancy company anymore? I won't have any sort of clout at my next party I go to that people are like, oh, he works for the New York Times. Oh, he writes for the Atlantic. Oh, he works at CNN. God, stupid. Like these talentless hacks were basically nothing more than spin machines for PR, and basically claiming that they're journalists. They're the next Woodward and Bernstein.
This is from CNN. News industry off to a brutal 2024 start as mass layoffs devastate publishers, raising questions about the future of journalism. So that's where we are.
The future of journalism is not because the businesses are closing. The future of journalism has been in doubt because of the failure to actually, I don't know, provide news rather than just here's a little snippet of 2 seconds of information and completely ridiculous biased takes that we want you to take from this. Or we're gonna have a headline that tells you one thing that has almost nothing to do with what the body of the actual message is. We're going to completely gaslight you into assuming that you're too stupid to read more than the first 2 paragraphs, and you're just going to move on to the next thing. So when we actually provide some legitimate information 6 paragraphs down, you won't get to that part. Instead, you'll just go whatever messaging we want you to take from it. Yeah, maybe that's been a problem with journalism. I don't know. I'm just crazy. I'm just a crazy person throwing out theories here.
In just the last couple of months, BuzzFeed News.
BuzzFeed News. Rest in peace.
Gone. Cheddar. Gone. Sports Illustrated, old school, gone.
Sports Illustrated with the biggest issue of the month of the year that they decided to basically say, oh, we're going to try and convince people what you think is attractive. How'd that work for you? There we go. I forgot that I had that. I hit the wrong button, but I like that one.
Vice World News.
Sad.
Gone. And that's just the last 2 or 3 months. And by the way, we didn't put all of them. Messenger, gone. You want to go a little further back. Mike, gone. Mashable, gone. Upworthy, gone. HuffPost Live. We thought HuffPost Live was going to run us out of business. Gone.
Oh my God. Oh my God. It's so sad. It's so sad how they're all gone. It's so sad.
That was kind of what, a decade ago.
Yeah.
So look, when you look at the past, you know, I'm going to keep it real. There's a little bit point of pride of all these people that had all this money, but they didn't have you guys.
And now, okay, they're going to basically sit there talking to the audience about how we love you. We love you so much. Please don't abandon us. We love you. We love you.
My theory was get people first, worry about money later. A lot of people hate that theory. Okay.
Especially if you don't pay or let your employees unionize while screaming for unions. Maybe it's easy to do that.
Okay. And everyone else's theory is get money and then worry about how you'll get people with the money.
That is very true, actually. That is very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we never got the scale of money that they got, right? But we got something better. We got you guys.
And I would kind of agree with you, Sporkio. I would kind of agree with you that it is kind of sad, but I think they're more like they're more of a, well, they're completely ridiculous. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, like I said, I don't trust 3 sentences that come out of their mouths. That's why I had to look up whether Sports Illustrated was really gone. It turned out they're not. I mean, they actually announced that they might be having some shutdowns, but they're not gone. But cutbacks. But they put a gravestone on them. I mean, Vice is still around. They had cutbacks. I mean, I guess certain divisions might have shut down. But yeah, the reason is because they don't come across as being like, professional. They sort of have I think they sort of have the flavor of being like, of being more, I don't know, I guess kind of like my studio type of feel, where it just doesn't look like it's, some lavish news agency. So perhaps people still trust them. I don't know. I can't figure it out either, because honestly, the ridiculous retarded takes they give over and over again. Someone filed to run against Judge McAfee, link sent in Twitter. Yes, I heard about that. Some black guy who is part of, I don't know, Rainbow Coalition or something like that. has filed to run against McAfee. I saw a headline on that somewhere. You sent me that on Twitter. It was Phil Holloway reported this. I mean, I don't agree with Megyn Kelly's take here necessarily. She said terrible news for Team Trump in Atlanta. McAfee was running unopposed. Now you got Jesse Jackson disciple challenging him in a district that wins 73% for Biden. McAfee is going to need a rock-solid spine to disqualify Fani Willis now. I don't know if that's true. He's incumbent. Incumbent actually is a really strong position. That's first and foremost. Second, it's like they're angry at him for actually looking insightful throughout this entire hearing. Like seriously, like very insightful throughout this entire hearing. He's been one of the best judges I see. The judge knew opponent clearly has a dog in this fight already, so much so that he would have to recuse himself or be recused from the case he would otherwise inherit. A cynic might think that the Fani Willis political machine put him up to running. Air treason's when you've got to run. Yeah. So that's what they're saying. I guess when you don't have enough race baiters, you need to get more race baiters. There's probably someone from the church that Fani was speaking at. I don't know that this is going to have as much of an impact on McAfee as Megyn Kelly seems to think. I don't know that's going to have as much of an impact because either way, he's going to be facing this guy. Like, he's in now. So whatever strength he has, I don't think that McAfee is necessarily harming himself. Well, what do I know as far as what he thinks about his political aspirations in the wake of getting rid of Fani? And a lot of depends on what happens tomorrow, which is why I need to remind you that tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., Ethics Committee will be looking at Fani Willis. Complaints about the way she conducted herself with respect to state of Georgia versus Trump et al. And all the different shenanigans which came up in today's Senate hearing are now going to be fleshed out. The reason this is highly significant is because the Ethics Committee actually is empowered to punish her, to discipline her, to sanction her, to theoretically strip over her law license. There's a lot that they can do if they find that she was, terribly egregious. And considering the fact that you and I and basically anyone with, who doesn't have blinders on recognizes that she engaged in perjury a couple of weeks back, I think she might be in trouble. And if she's really, really in trouble, I don't think that McAfee is really going to be like excoriated for removing her. So I'll tell you right now, is this probably politically motivated, this guy running? Yeah, I think that makes sense. That's logical. It's logical. It's a way to try to scare him into basically, for all we know, he'll get a phone call from someone telling him that, hey, it'd be really convenient if Fani Willis wins. It'll also be really convenient if that guy dropped out of the judicial race against you, wouldn't it? Those are two things that would both be very convenient. I'm just silently observing about convenient things. Could something like that happen? Could you get a phone call like that? Yeah, definitely. Would we ever know about it? Almost certainly not. No. But I'll tell you right now, if I was this black dude, I'd think, how did this white guy get in the first place? Right? How do you get in the first place? He ran unopposed. All right. We'll see what happens. But I will urge you to join me tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. because at 10 a.m. is when I'm going to be covering this. And I'm going to be, it's likely going to be fire. Fire! Fire! So I urge you to join me for that. And make sure I didn't miss anything here on Rumble. I don't think I did because you all were really angry at Rumble for screwing with you. And I don't blame you because they messed up your stream all night long. But if you can still hit like, I'd appreciate it. It's 400 of you there. If you could like and subscribe where you're watching me here on YouTube, I would be most obliged. Trying to charge my way up to 100,000. And I'm churning. I'm like the little engine that could. Think again. So whatever small step you can help to push me in that direction, I would be much obliged to you. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Don't be late. You'll get links at goodlogic.locals.com. That's at goodlogic.locals.com. I'm just going to redirect you before I send you on your way to my good friend over here, just because I can. And why wouldn't I do that? Just share the good karma. So oh, he is not going. Is he not going? Oh, he is going. All right. So I'm going to redirect you over to my friend over there, and I will see you all tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Meanwhile, let's check out goodlawgic.locals.com. I'm on my way out of here. Stay happy, but do not eat the bugs. You know how you stay happy is don't eat the bugs. This guy running is also a radio host, so free ads. Oh, I didn't know that. All right, it is what it is. Judge got in by being appointed by the governor. I can't. I think it's too early to speculate as to the ramifications of that guy being on. Anyway, I will see you all tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. right here on Rumble, right here on YouTube, right here on X. Till then, the links are going to come out. I'm going to be producing those links over the next hour or so. You'll see links on goodlawgic.locals.com. They should be out there for the next hour or so. Till tomorrow morning, take care of yourselves. Stay happy. Don't eat some bugs. And Godspeed.